had this bullshit. Like, we had a long weekend, right?
Mm-hmm.
4 days?
You got your Barry White voice going on.
4 days, I am lying in bed. Like, sick. Like, dead sick.
Yeah. Well,
I'm just coming out of it now. Oh, hey, get to go back to work. That's awesome.
good. You didn't miss a beat.
I know. Welcome to Kevin's Miniatures and Hobby Table. And tonight we've got a battle report for you. We're going to focus in on a faction that my good friend Elliot Christian is going to bring out tonight. And so, Elliot, say hi.
Howdy.
All right. Elliot and I have known each other for about 12 years?
Yeah, more or less. Yeah,
about 12 years. And for most of those years, we've been playing Warmachine.
Mm-hmm.
When did you get into Warmachine? It was like, you got in before me.
Yeah, I think I started playing within the first year when it came out. Our good buddy Miles introduced me to it, and soon afterwards we roped you in as well.
Yeah, I got into it too, and I got stuck with Meanoth.
Yeah.
Because there was no Meanoth player in the group. And I shouldn't say stuck with, because I do like the faction quite a bit.
Owning that very well.
It's been a pretty good faction for me.
Yeah.
What factions do you play?
Well, I play Khador was my first. Then as soon as Hordes came out, I started up with Circle as well. And then more recently, I've dabbled in some minions.
Okay, and who do you have for us tonight?
I'm going back to my roots, bringing out some Khador.
Okay, now Khador was your first faction?
Yeah.
Okay, so what was it about Khador that initially attracted you to the faction?
Well, back to Miles again, when he was first trying to convince me to get into this game that he was keen on. He showed me the Privateer Press gallery on the website and was showing me all the Khador models, and the one that caught my eye was the Devastator in his clamshell with the heavy armor.
That's the Clamjack?
Yeah.
Is that the Armor 25 one?
That's
when
right.
He's got,
yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
geez.
And Reign of Death. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that concept sort of caught my eye, and the rest is history.
Sure. Elliot is a great painter. You're gonna see some of his figures shortly. How long have you been painting figures?
Well, I started sort of casually. Well, I've been building models and painting model airplanes my entire life, basically, as long as I can remember. Proper toy soldiers, I started painting somewhat casually when I was in high school. Some friends with some 40K. I think it was first edition 40K at the time.
Yeah. Like Rogue Trader first edition 40K?
Like the Beaky Space Marines and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And we played a bit, and then I think I got into like proper tabletop gaming significantly when Necromunda came out.
Yeah.
And then.
And you were painting all those figures?
I was painting a handful of them. I didn't actually start amassing large collections of armies until I really got into Warmachine, actually. Khador is my biggest army by far.
Okay, so you're bringing Khador tonight. What cast are we going to see?
Vlad.2 tonight, yep.
Okay, and I know you're a big fan of Vlad.2. I've played against him many times. I hate him. He's very atypical in the kind of the Khador stable of casters. There's tons of great Khador casters, but none explode across the table and grab as much real estate as Vlad.2.
Not too many, yeah. Vlad.3 gives him a run for his money in terms of speed overall, but speed and damage at large threat ranges are what make Vlad unique, and in a competitive setting that can be useful if your opponent is expecting you to be very slow and plodding, like many Khador lists. You can
like Butcher 1.
Yeah. You can
across the battlefield.
You can hopefully catch your opponent on the back foot with an early elf strike.
Right, gotcha. Okay, so talk about some of the units and solos that really makes Vlad.2 kind of shine.
Well, for me personally, it's the key piece of this list is a max unit of Iron Fang Yulins.
Yeah, sure.
In combination with Vlad's feat, which gives them +3 to their entire stat block. You can get a 16-inch threat range, Mat 9, POW 19 attack for each Yulin you send off, which is a significant nuclear strike you can launch at your opponent. Yeah.
Right. Okay.
And then beyond that, Chaosi Eliminators are often brought
out of tier.
Yeah. For an assassination threat along the same lines.
Because they'll benefit from the feat as well.
They can benefit from the feat, and they have acrobatics, so trying to remember, speed 7. You can get a 13.5-inch threat charge through
whatever you
anything,
like. Yeah.
and put a stop to their caster real quick.
Okay, fair enough. What are some of the solos that you think synergize well with?
Well,
with
the new key one that's actually helped out his list significantly is Iron Fang Kopnik.
Okay.
When you're coming with a unit of Iron Fang Pikemen and a unit of Yulins, the no sleeping on the job is great.
Yeah.
And then also his benefits for the shield march for the Iron Fangs.
Right.
Is great.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it actually was the missing piece to making the perfect 35-point Vlad to tier 4 list.
Oh, okay.
When the Kopnik came out, he filled the point gap perfectly, and
Yeah.
is
Okay,
made
but we're
that
playing
list.
at 50 points.
We're playing 50.
Yeah.
So
You're going to go out of tier.
tonight I'm going out of tier.
Yeah.
I've been waffling about staying in tier. If I was going to stay in, I'd probably, on top of my regular 35-point list, I was considering adding a Spriggan and a unit of Widowmakers.
Yeah.
But then I'm a point down.
Mm.
So I'm going out of tier, and I'm going to bring the Eliminators and a cast of support solos.
Okay, cool. Now, a lot of people, when they're analyzing Warmachine armies and casters, they say this guy's an attrition caster, this guy's an assassination caster, this guy is a scenario caster. How would you categorize Vlad 2?
So, based on the Yulin nuclear strike, the first thing that comes to mind is attrition, the amount of damage that you can get in that one attack, plus the difficulty your opponent will have removing those models at +3 defense and armor. Gives him a leg up in attrition. However, if you have eliminators in the list, you've got an assassination threat, and then just the general speed of the army.
If you're out of the blocks first.
If you get first turn and you move those Yulins up and they have a large threat range, you can claim a lot of the territory on the board and definitely threaten scenario.
Yeah, sure. Okay, so good, strong, all-around caster. When you think Khador, generally you're thinking Sorches, Butcher, Irusk. I think you might throw a lot of opponents off in a tournament setting, putting a strong Vlad list in.
Vlad 2 was in Mark 1.
Oh well, yeah.
Before Mark 2 came around, Vlad 2 had a season or two of being at the very top of the list there. Everybody was afraid
the
of
tippy
him.
top.
But it's been a while since people have seen him at the top tables. So yeah, he's I wouldn't go so far as to say dark horse, but
yeah.
People don't expect him too much.
Yeah, if you have Vlad 2 as part of a 2-tier list pairing that you're bringing into a tournament, who do you like to pair him up with?
So, in my competitive experience so far, I've often brought Vlad 2 actually not as my primary list, but as my backup list. My familiarity with him means that if I'm uncomfortable with something that I'm facing, I'm always comfortable falling back on Vlad 2 to deal with the situation. So that said, I've paired him up with a variety of other casters that I've been experimenting with at various times. So I've used him along with a really gun-heavy Harkovich build.
A particularly atypical Khador list.
Yeah,
I mean, everyone says Khador, you bring one jack and you Iron Flesh a bunch of infantry and go at it. But you bring a ton of jacks.
Well, Harkovich, I've had success with Harkovich with Conquest, Demolisher, and Black Ivan, plus some Man of War shock troopers, and people say not to build around broadsides, but if you do build around it and you're up against a lot of light infantry, all of those AoEs are really bad news for your opponent. And I've even outgunned Signar shooty lists with multiple Storm Striders and a Stormwall.
Yeah.
Just blasted them away.
Right.
Yeah.
Probably the Signar player probably was not expecting that.
No, yeah. He was surprised to see all those Power 14s.
Okay, so you're sitting down at a tournament. Your opponent gives you a couple of lists to look at. What do you see when you look at the lists and you say, "Oh, He's got this. I'm bringing Vlad 2. What is it that you like to match Vlad 2 up against?
Well, it's usually if I see a lot of armor. The 5 19 Yulin missile is really good for cracking armor if there's a colossal or gargantuan across the table or multiple heavies. The Yulins have a solid target, and if I can remove that piece of their army early without it getting to really do anything first, then that gives me a big leg up. Yep.
All right. Well, listen, thanks very much. We're going to go over to the table. We're going to set up. We're going to have a game. I'm going to play Menoth tonight. My go-to caster in Menoth is Prime Severius. He's a good attrition caster. I like playing him quite a bit. So we're going to put him on the table, and we're going to see how this goes. Here we go.
Let's go.
All right, let's get it. All right, Elliot, just panning across your army here. As we look at the units, why don't you just tell us what you've got?
So there's a unit of Widowmakers plus Eris. I'm using the No Quarter Special Edition figure as Epic Eris today.
All right, very good. And then coming in here,
we have the Iron Fang Kovnik, unit of Iron Fangs with a Black Dragon attachment. The Great Bears, tucked in behind is Ragman and Saxon Orc. Vlad 2 in the center with the War Dog, his good buddy Drago. Hiding back here, a couple of Chaos Eliminators. Then we have Max Yulins plus Markov the Solo.
Okay, here we are. The scenario is supply and demand. We've got the scoring zone in the center. We have a couple of supply caches here. That one's friendly to Elliot. This one is friendly to me and the Menoth players. We've gone through Elliot's army. We rolled off. Elliot has the first player turn, so that's why I'm set up a little farther forward. And what I've done is I've set up to counter deploy against Elliot. I've set up the Avatar of Menoth on my right flank. This is to absorb or combat the Ulans. The Avatar is going to be screened by errants, which are out on the advanced deploy. In my Severius list, I rely heavily on Blessing of Vengeance, his affinity jack, to cast out Ashes to Ashes with a bonus. We also have a Reckoner with Severius, and I run a 4th jack in the Severius list, and that's a Repenter, which I just keep off the side and use late game and apply focus when the opportunity arises. We've got the book in here. We have vassals assigned essentially to the Reckoner and the Blessing of Vengeance, and we have a mechanic assigned to the Avatar, who's going to be seeing a lot of work tonight, I suspect. And that's it. That's everything on my side. Elliot, why don't you kind of go over what your plan is on the first turn?
Well, that errant screen is going to be a big problem for me. Ideally, I don't want to use my Yulin Alpha Strike on his errant unit. I would like to save it up to hit the Avatar. However, I think Kevin's going to give me a big challenge to get the charge lane that I'm looking for that. So, first turn, the main concern is the 15-inch threat on those errants. If I move my max speed and run up, they're going to be getting shots on me straight away. So that's a difficulty. We're going to have to see how we work around that one.
Okay, what's your plan with the Widowmakers and the Iron Fangs?
Widowmakers are going to try and position, move up just a little bit in order to plink some shots into the errants. But again, I got to stay out of his 15-inch threat range. Eris is going to probably hide behind that hill. And the Iron Fangs, I would like to just run them, but I think they're going to get shot up if I do that. So I'll probably advance in shield wall.
Okay, we'll just go over board terrain for a second. This is elevated terrain. It's also an obstruction. However, there are kind of 1-inch ledges, which will allow us to get up into elevation on this terrain piece. We have the scoring zone in the center. We have a wall in the middle of the table. We have a piece of obstruction here. We have and 2 forests, and of course our objectives, and I've got a couple of pieces of crap terrain sitting in front of my deployment zone here. So I think that pretty much covers it. So Elliot, it's your first turn. Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay, so Elliot, go ahead and tell everyone kind of what you did on your first turn.
Well, so I played it a little conservatively with the Iron Fangs. I did the shield march and only moved up 8 inches. I'm actually seeing where my Yulins ended up. I feel like I could have been maybe more aggressive. Anyway, I'll have my Iron Fangs around for next turn for sure. The Yulins, I'm banking on their defensive line, bringing them up to Arm 19 to protect them from Kevin's POW 9, POW
Swords.
10, sorry,
POW 9 swords, POW 10 crossbows.
POW 10 crossbows. Widowmakers came up. I was hoping to get a couple of shots. I only got one, but it hit home. And
Yeah, that was here to here.
Yep.
Yeah.
Everything else is just bringing up the rear, basically.
Why the Eliminators swinging out to the side?
Oh, well, Severius is over there. If they're going to be an assassination threat, they're going to be close to where Severius is.
Which is right there.
Yep.
Okay, great. All right, so for bottom of turn 1, I'm going to be bringing up my errants. I'm going to be engaging Ulans. I feel like this group is probably the biggest threat on the board besides the Eliminators, which are back there. Going to try and start the attrition game. Severius is going to have to go first. He's got to have to get Eye of Menoth up to give them a little damage buff. And then what I want to do with the errants is create a hedgehog of pieces that his Ulans can't work his way through, and get the avatar snuggled up in close and gaze and try to lock the Ulans down. I want to get Blessing of Vengeance up as far as possible and start looking for Ashes to Ashes targets, and the Reckoner and everybody else is just going to advance safely. We're probably going to tuck Severius in behind this column and use the cover there. We've got some threats coming around on his side. We've got Epic Eris, which is going to be a problem, and then we've got a couple of Eliminators, and obviously the Widowmakers are going to make life tough on this side as well. So fortunately, we have the Repenter over here on this side, and I think the Flamethrower is going to start getting some use as soon as he can. All right. So with that, we'll get bottom of turn 1 underway. Okay, that was the bottom of 1, and had a very underwhelming first turn. The errants went, and they advanced to start working down the Ulans. Even under Eye of Menoth, it was a complete whiff. We had, I think, 11 shots, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11 shots, scoring a lot of hits and absolutely no damage at dice -8, which is fair enough, but I thought the dice might have popped up a little bit there for
Your
me.
spikes were on your to-hit rolls.
Spikes were on the hits, yeah, for sure. We've got Severius tucked in. He's just inside kill box here, and the Repenter has come up to protect his flank. Gorman's got smoke out in front of him. We've enlivened the Reckoner and the Blessing of Vengeance. We have no knockdown from the book in effect. The Avatar's gazing, but there are no gaze targets, and he's run up. And that's pretty much it. So, okay, we're going to top of turn 2. Elliot, tell me what your plan is right now.
Well, the lack of damage from the errants was good. If you'd have gotten lucky, I could have lost a Yulin. That would have been sad. It's looking like my most valid target at the moment is the objective over on my left. My Yulins are well positioned to be able to hit that, regardless of the handful of errants in the way. what's concerning me at the moment actually is going to be the interaction between impact attacks and whatever that sacrifice ability is on your errants.
Mm-hmm.
I think the traditional method of using Yulin impacts to plow through the front line of infantry is not going to work, because you will kill a guy at the back and then my movement will be finished. So I'm not going to be able to, if it weren't for that...
you got to be really careful about declaring charges, because if I sacrifice a guy, you stop movement, you fail charge,
basically,
and
I
that's
cannot count on breaking through the front line with impact attacks. I'm going to have to declare charge targets against things I can reach.
Yeah, and just to be clear, on the video, we do have Defender's Ward up on the errands as well.
So what does that put
They're
them
14-18s.
14-18s. Yeah. So my Yulins will be putting out assuming I pop feet, which I'm not terribly inclined to do, my Yulins will be putting out POW 12s. But at Mat 6, they're not going to... Well, that's something to consider. Otherwise, beyond that, I will advance the Widowmakers to try and... Actually, they may come in handy for trying to clear charge lanes, but again, Kevin is going to sacrifice guys at the back to keep his front line in place, I'm fairly certain. My Iron Fangs are, I think, just out of threat range. Yeah, I don't think they're going to make it. I should have run them up.
What's the threat on them? 16?
Well, no. Okay, so base threat on the Iron Fangs will be 6 plus 3 plus 2, so 11 inches on the charge.
Okay.
And
but they're Black Dragons. What's their benefit?
The mini feat for Black Dragons gives them +4 armor, so it doesn't help them at all on the charge.
Nothing on mobility.
Nothing on mobility.
All right.
Eris may come to the hilltop to try and remove Defender's Ward on the errants, although I'm guaranteed to lose her next turn if I do that. But it might be worth it just to get rid of them all, or as many as possible.
All right, well, let's start into your turn 2 then.
Okay.
Okay, that was the top of turn 2.
Right.
And a bunch of crud happened.
Well, I'll take a crack at summarizing it here.
Go ahead.
So, very first thing, I advanced Eris up onto the hilltop with the goal of getting a hit on the errants. And
that was to strip off Defender's Ward.
To strip off Defender's Ward, correct. And she has a 12-inch range, and it was really...
It looked dicey.
In or out by a hair there, and when I measured it at first, I accidentally nudged Kevin's model, and so in the interest of resolving our dispute quickly, we rolled a die, and
we just did a 1, 2, 3. It was good to go, and 4, 5, 6 no,
and it turned out in my favor. So Kevin generously gave me the range, and I took the shot and landed it and killed the errant and stripped off his defensive buffs,
and which caused the rest of this to happen.
So subsequently, the Widowmakers came in, contributed some shooting, and removed, I think, 3 more errants.
Yep.
Then I just did some... I advanced my Iron Fangs under their mini feat, bringing them up to armor 22 this turn. And then brought Vlad up behind to pop feet on the Yulins. He also recast Hand of Fate on the Yulins to give them... additional die, drop the lowest on all their attack and damage rolls, which I forgot on about half of them, but
it didn't matter.
It didn't matter. So then I charged into with the goal of putting some damage on the Avatar as well as eliminating the objective, which those are my 2 primary goals. They accomplished their mission quite handily.
But with only 2 Ulans on the Avatar, you weren't able to kill it.
Yeah,
But if you'd got a third one in,
I might
you
have.
probably would have done it.
I might have been able to, but there just wasn't room with the errants and the objective crowding the way. So he will live to
Seek revenge.
smite my
Do
unit.
his own version of attrition.
Otherwise, I sent the eliminators around on the flank and brought up my support staff and the Great Bears waiting, and the Warjack waiting for the next round, basically. We'll see what Kevin dishes out. I'm anticipating an Ashes will wipe out my Widowmakers and maybe put some damage on. My Iron Fangs are pretty happy sitting at armor 22, but I'm expecting my Widowmakers to bite it. Flames are over here might be an issue for my flanking force, and then like we just mentioned, the Avatar is going to put the smack down on some of those Yulins. We'll see how much focus he gets.
Yeah, so looking at bottom of turn 2, the objective cannot be damaged until the bottom of turn 2.
Oh shit. Oh, we totally.
Okay, so we
misplayed
have
that.
we have an interesting correction in the game.
Oh fuck.
The objective actually couldn't be damaged yet, so we're just going to toss that boy back
how
in
convenient.
there. How convenient!
Oh.
That's a bummer for Elliot.
Oh, bother.
Okay, fair enough. Anyway, going to the bottom of turn 2, and I will not be killing my objective.
I don't think so.
No. What I'm going to do is I'm going to roll like a demon and get a lot of focus up on the Avatar, and he's going to put some smackdown on some Ulans. I am going to get the Reckoner probably into a position to do some damage on the... Is that Drago?
Drago. Yeah.
Okay, on Drago. I'm going to bring up Blessing of Vengeance to get some Ashes to Ashes out, and probably take a... I don't know if I can actually land a flame attack on Eris, but we're going to find out. So that's my plan for the turn. Also, Vlad has feeded, which is fine. We've got range out. We should have range to him. What I'm going to do with Severius is I'm actually going to feed as well this turn and get Elliot's focus down to give me just a turn to recover from the devastation that happened over here. And well, then we'll see what happens. Okay, so we'll start into the turn. Okay, that was the bottom of turn 2, and we'll just go over what happened during the turn. We did a Harmonious Exaltation, the Choir Dead Battle on the Jacks. So the big challenge this turn was to get rid of Eris. She's obviously very dangerous. She's very close to my caster. The only way I was really going to get that done was to bounce an Ashes to Ashes into her, which I did through the Repenter. The Repenter got a nice shot off against a Widowmaker and knocked out one of those guys. Severius put Defender's Ward up on the Reckoner. The Reckoner went up and assaulted one Widowmaker, got rid of it, targeted his melee charge attack, which was no longer a charge, on another Widowmaker, got rid of him. We've got Blessing of Vengeance over here. The book came up and did a no knockdown again. The Avatar only rolled 2 on its focus, and so it was only able to eliminate 3 Ulans, and the mechanic was able to repair a couple of hits on him as well. The Seneschal, who came in and charged this Ulan, who's on the objective here, actually whiffed all of his attacks. The errants have done pretty much nothing except the officer. The officer, the lone errant left, Did a charge on Drago and did 12 damage.
12 points right in the
right
cortex.
into the cortex. So no cortex left on Drago.
Headshot.
Yeah, it was a headshot, and actually Severius, when he went, he feeded as well. So we're going to have no focus anyway this turn. So the situation that I'm in right now is essentially the Eliminators are still a threat. The Jacks are certainly, I may lose them to this charging infantry over here. We've got Defender's Ward up to help the Reckoner. We've got Vision up to help out the Blessing of Vengeance. Not too worried about Drago this turn. We've got a couple of Ulans that are kind of facing the wrong way for charges, so not too worried about this. I am worried about this guy. The Avatar is currently enlivened, so hopefully we'll be able to get him out of danger before he loses the last of his hit boxes. Right now he's got one movement box, he's got his shield and his sword and a couple of hull boxes, and that's about it. That's the situation we're in the bottom of turn 2. I am very worried about the Eliminators. We'll see what happens there. Elliot, we'll go on to the top of turn 3. Why don't you talk about what you're going to do?
Well, if everything goes extremely well, I'll take out all 3 of these Warjacks. Although I don't think I quite have the firepower for that. Realistically, I'm hoping to get rid of the Avatar and the Reckoner this turn. Maybe the objective.
Okay, how are you going to get around and enliven?
Well, my Iron Fangs have a 9-inch move on the charge. I'm fairly confident I can get at least one of them past the midline of Kevin's base right here. And
he'll be blocked in.
He'll be boxed in by the objective and the mechanic.
And you have Pathfinder on your charge.
I do not with the Black Dragons, but that's why Saxon is here.
Oh, okay. Saxon can give him Pathfinder.
Yeah. Just to lay down the general plan I've got at the moment, Saxon's going to give Pathfinder to the Iron Fangs. The Iron Fangs are going to do a number of charges. We're going to send a chunk of them towards the Avatar. We're going to send a couple of them after this Errant, and a handful against Blessing of Vengeance. Once they have shifted forwards, hopefully, I don't think I'll have the Avatar dead, nor the Blessing of Vengeance, but I should have the Avatar almost dead and boxed in, and Blessing of Vengeance some damage, hopefully. After that, I should have room to move Ragman across, so that a charge from the Great Bears will benefit from his Dark Shroud ability on the Reckoner, which
would negate Defender's Ward.
Will negate the Defender's Ward. After that, the Iron Fang Covenant will follow in there if the Great Bears can't do the job. And then lastly, Drago may or may not have threat range onto the objective. Because I'm losing all my focus, I will not be able to upkeep any of my spells, so he loses his movement buff. So I have a 7.5-inch threat, which that looks
dubious.
Very close. Maybe, maybe not. Finally, the Ulans are going to try and stomp out that Seneschal, and Markov will probably try and pitch in on the objective if Drago fails.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll see.
Here we go. Top of turn 3. Let's see what happens. Okay, that was the top of turn 3, and Elliot, why don't you kind of go over a lot of the good stuff and some of the bad stuff that happened
Well,
this turn.
This game, especially these turns in the middle of the game when everything's happening, can be a real puzzle. And so the plan that I mentioned at the beginning more or less went according to plan, except for the objective is left on 1 hit point. The first hiccup that I ran into was once my Iron Fangs were given Pathfinder and made their charges, these two guys were earmarked to take out the lone errant, and they whiffed their attack roll there, leaving Drago still tied up by that errant. Then, subsequently, my Iron Fang charge on the Avatar did, well, decent, but left him on 3 hitboxes. So his existence was still a problem. And thirdly, my charge attacks on the Blessing of Vengeance, well, I managed to do a bit of damage.
You've taken his shield out.
Took his shield out, which is not bad, but it was slightly underwhelming. Some of my attack rolls didn't go, my damage rolls didn't go too well there.
The backswings on the Reckoner were very good.
The Dark Shrouded Great Bears did a number on the Reckoner, and that went exactly, in fact, better than I was expecting.
Yeah, and quite honestly, I deserved to lose it. The fact that it was up there was a kind of a huge positional error on my part.
Right. And then the Iron Fang Kovnik was able to anchor on the Blessing of Vengeance and make up somewhat for the failures of the regular Iron Fangs over here.
I want to talk about why I sent him up there. He did engage all the Widowmakers and killed. We got all but one of them dead. I'm worried about the Eliminators and the Widowmakers on Severius right now, and that's what his job was to do. And it was, honestly, it totally wasn't worth it.
Yeah, well, 8 points of Warjack to stop 4 points of Widowmakers.
Well, no, to stop an assassination attempt, but I mean, it's like he's going to be safe, I think.
Yeah.
But it was a terrible
Well,
place.
I think you didn't account for Ragman.
Yeah, Ragman really buggered up my defender's ward there.
Yep. And then finally, so then over here, I managed to untie this knot by moving Markov around behind to kill the errant Seneschal that was tying up my 2 Yulins.
Yeah.
And that freed up one of those guys for a charge to kill the other errant, which in turn freed up Drago for his free charge to hit the objective
and finish off the Avatar. Right. So Elliot did a chain attack bloodbath. Is that what it's called?
That's correct. Yeah.
Chain attack bloodbath after hitting the objective a couple of times. Then hit the objective a 3rd time and hit the Avatar. Killed the Avatar. I think he needed a 6. He rolled an 8, but left the objective at 14 damage
on 1 hit.
Yeah, 1 shy of kill there. I think you were also going for a domination on the zone.
Well,
but we still got the book and the.
Not going to, and the objective's not dead yet either.
Yeah.
But I'm well positioned to maybe start scoring points on the next turn, and shouldn't be. Well, it depends how much damage Kevin's able to do. But since I've taken out his 2 heaviest hitters, and I've got his flamethrower tied up, well, we'll see. We'll see what kind of how he can make.
So
what he can do
so
with this.
essentially, in order to try and recover from this, quite honestly, right now, I think I'm in a terrible board state. I think I should lose this game, but Severius is going to go to work. He's going to cast 2 Ashes to Ashes this turn. I'm going to try and clear up as much infantry as I got. I got to get rid of the Eliminators. I'm going to try to get the Widowmaker and all of that in 1 Ashes to Ashes, and then a 2nd Ashes to Ashes to just try and free up the Blessing of Vengeance. The Blessing of Vengeance hasn't taken a lot of damage yet, so there's still some potential that some potential work I can get out of him. So I'll see what I can do there. I'm probably going to bring Gorman over either this way or this way and just try to black oil a group of guys. Hope maybe the Great Bears and just try to neutralize them for a turn. Drago and Drago I'm not too concerned about. His Cortex is out. However, the Ulans are still a threat, and they can still do a fair bit of damage.
I just forgot Drago's affinity, which I wasn't using.
Oh, what was that?
It's he's got Hand of Fate all the time.
Oh, he's got Hand of Fate.
I totally
you totally would have killed that.
Objective.
Well, you've tried it twice.
Twice now.
3rd time's the charm.
Yeah.
You'll get it next time.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go to bottom of turn 3, and we'll see how it goes. It's going to be Severus' turn to do what he can do, and see what type of board position I'm left in. As I said, I'm not optimistic at this point in time. I wasn't planning on losing the Avatar. The fact that that Saxon gave Pathfinder to the Black Dragons really sucked, because this guy prevented the Aliven escape, and that was really crucial.
There's one thing I've gotten used to in playing games with Kevin, is how to neutralize Enliven.
Yeah, sure. And Saxon Auric on a Black Dragon just did it, which is too bad. So I didn't plan on losing the Avatar. That really sucked, and honestly, I just threw the Reckoner away on a bad play. So that's where we are. We'll do bottom of turn 3, see how much damage I can get done, and maybe that might be the game there. Let's see. All right, here we go. Okay, that was the bottom of turn 3. It was about as good as it could go. Actually, no, it could have gone a lot better. The first thing that happened is I disengaged my Repenter from the Chaosi Eliminator over here, and took a free strike, which knocked the Flamethrower off. Perfect. So I could have actually done a lot more damage with that. But anyway, I used him as the node to throw an Ashes to Ashes through, and eliminated both Eliminators. Got the Widowmaker, and I got one Pikeman as well.
Yeah.
Right. Then I threw a second Ashes to Ashes, and that Ashes to Ashes I put onto a black oiled.
Great. No, you put it on the back of your jack.
Oh yeah, I put it on the back of this jack. And
rolled a 6.
I rolled a 6 for, so I rolled a 5 for extra targets on the first Ashes to Ashes, and a 6 for extra targets on the second Ashes to Ashes.
Can't really complain too much.
Yeah, I left 2 Great Bears on 1 hit, and I left the Kovnik on 1 hit. This guy then, this is Blessing of Vengeance. He then activated. He went up. He killed one of the Great Bears. Ancillary attack from a vassal killed the other Great Bear. The book moved up and put no spells out, so we've got Vlad under no spells, and we still have no Cortex left on Drago. This mechanic came out and actually killed a pikeman with his multi-tool, which was incredible. But that's about it, and I actually should be losing the game very shortly. I don't have the hitting power to get through to what I need, and I've lost my flamethrower here.
Very shortly is a relative term, because
I should also mention, if I didn't already, that Gorman had come up early in the round and it had black oiled all of the Great Bears and what's that, Ragman.
Ragman is blind too, yeah.
Yeah. All right.
But
so anyway, there's one blind Great Bear left, one blind Ragman, Kovnek's left on 1 hit, and then we actually have a lot of hitting power still left over on this side of the board.
Yeah.
Okay, anyway, we're going to go to top of turn 4, and as is always the case when Elliot and I play, it is an attrition fest, and Elliot is in the lead. Okay, off we go, turn 4. Okay, so we just finished the top of turn 4. Elliot, why don't you do a quick summary of kind of what happened here?
Okay, well, Kevin put as much stuff in the zone to complicate me scoring control points as much as possible. As it turns out, I came up 1.2 vassals short of a control point. Yeah. One of them got left on 1 hit point. The other one I couldn't get anybody close enough to.
This one's down to 1 point. This one's at full.
Yeah. Otherwise, I sent Vlad in to try and eliminate the Warjack here.
Yeah.
However,
and he enlivened away after the first attack.
Slipped away with Enliven. And then I had an opportunity to follow up with the Kovnik on the Warjack, but decided to try for Gorman instead. However, I missed the 7 I needed to hit to kill Gorman. So he is still a problem.
Okay, and you've got rid of the book as well.
I got rid of the book.
All right, so Elliot's done his turn 4. He's almost dominating the zone. He certainly has one control point because of the destroyed objective over on this side. And I am now out of options. Bottom of turn 4, I'm going to attempt a Severius assassination. And if this doesn't work, then that's the game. All right, let's see what happens. Okay, so we're at the bottom of turn 4. This is the assassination attempt in play. We've got an interesting series of events that transpired. We used these stupid-ass arcane bolts off the vassals to knock out the 2 black dragons that had Gorman engaged.
One of them needed boxcars.
One of them needed boxcars to kill the officer, and it rolled boxcars. So there was a big risk there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Elliot saying bullshit. Okay, so Gorman came around, and Gorman scattered at 1 inch a black oil that actually caught Vlad, the last Great Bear, Ragman, and this Iron Fang. The important thing is getting Vlad down to def 11. Severius has come up for the assassination attempt. He still has Eye of Menoth up. He's pulled a focus off a rack, so he's sitting on 8 right now. And he's going to start plugging away with immolations at POW 13 against armor 20. So these are really bad attacks. This is a total long shot assassination. I do not expect it to come off, but I should get maybe 3 attacks off boosted. And we'll see if we can spike some damage. Okay, so first one goes off under Harmonious Exaltation. We've got an immolation going off at 1 focus.
Okay.
So that's the first one to go. This is 9 against 11, so I'm going to miss on boxcars. I roll double 4. It's actually a crit. So if this assassination doesn't work, he's on fire at the beginning of his next turn.
Dun,
So
dun.
that could do it there, but that remains
One more
to be
POW
seen.
12 I will need to survive.
Yeah, okay, so, one more POW 12. Okay, this is actually a POW 13 going at armor 20, you said?
Yep.
Because you're camping 4?
Yep.
Okay, so this is dice minus 7. I'm going to boost it. And spike the roll.
Holy
16, so 9 points of damage.
Screw you. Holy smokes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So that puts me, I get +2 defense out of that.
Yeah, okay, def 13. Okay, so this is another immolation coming in. There's 2 focus. This is 9 on 13. I need a 4 to hit. There's double 4s. We crit fire again. All right, and once again, we're at POW 13 on armor 20, dice minus 7. I'm going to boost, dice minus 7. One point of damage.
Okay, that's more like it. Now we're averaging out.
Okay, then we're going to immolate again.
One more time.
All
4 to
right.
hit.
And that's a hit, and last boost. Dice minus 7.
Mm-hmm.
And it's actually a 7.
Zip.
So zip. So we've left you on 8 hit boxes?
8 hit points.
Okay. So I'm going to say that my turn's over. We're going to go over to Elliot. He's going to remove fire on a 1 or a 2. It's a
Still
3.
on fire.
Okay, so this is...
POW 12 on 16.
Okay, POW 12. So this is dice minus 4. So we finish off an attempted kill on...
You're going to need... I've got 8 left. You're going to need boxcars.
Boxcars to kill. Otherwise, I'm dead. 7.
7.
Elliot wins.
Oh, yeah, you're not going to make me...
No. There's no... Hey, Severius is swinging out here 14-14. You've got tons of stuff.
I
No
got
problem.
a unit of Iron Fangs and a couple
Yeah.
of Yulins and Drago. And
Yeah.
All right.
All right, it was all good. That was the typical grind 'em out game. Very enjoyable, and it came right down to the end, an assassination attempt, and it didn't go. My bad. I didn't think I would lose the Avatar, but he got a pikeman in behind the Avatar to prevent the enliven away, and I also threw away the Reckoner, which was really dumb. Well-deserved win for Elliot. He delivered a lot of damage, killed a lot of pieces, and Vlad. And just in summary, Elliot, since we've been talking about Vlad, kind of what do you think played to his strengths in this game?
Again, this was fairly textbook. I used Vlad's feat to put me up on attrition. I was not able to one-shot a jack, but I was able, via a series of impact attacks and a few charge attacks, to put a large amount of damage on my initial charge turn into Kevin's right flank, and then, just according to plan, the Yulins were difficult to chew through. The Avatar was only able to kill 3 of them, and my second line remained basically untouched, aside from a couple of casualties on my flanking force. And that allowed me to get a second Alpha Strike with my second wave, which finished off the Avatar and killed the Reckoner.
Yeah.
And the rest of the errants. So
yeah, and we had some nasty damage too. You knocked the shield off of the Blessing of Vengeance, which is really important. You knocked the Flamethrower off the Repenter, which is really important.
So it basically went the way I hope to play with Vlad, which is Alpha Strike with the Yulins, get a lead on damage, and use that attack wave to protect a second line of attackers, which get a second Alpha Strike, and yeah, win via attrition, basically.
Okay. Well, listen, Elliot, thanks very much for coming over. Thanks for participating in tonight's battle report.
Yeah, good game. It's always fun.
Yeah, always a grind fest.
Yeah.
Always fun.
No quarter.
Yeah. Okay, so thanks everybody for watching, and we'll catch you next time. All right, take care.